gone, but so is this whole block.
Hey guys, Anthony here with Greg from Supergiant. Of course, last year you guys had Bastion, super crazy giant hit, and now you are back with Transistor.
Yes.
Which is awesome. So tell me a little bit, set up the story of Transistor for me.
Well, you play as this woman called Red, who I guess is having a very bad evening at the beginning of this game. She is, although it could have been worse because there was an attempt on her life. Fortunately for her, she survives this assassination attempt, but she winds up all the way across town. And the weapon that nearly killed her is there embedded in the body of someone that she knew. She takes this weapon, and no sooner does she do that than these strange forces called the Process show up and start trying to kill her and get this thing back. So she sets off to answer a lot of questions, find out who these people are, try to kill her, what's going on, and there's yeah, a lot of questions on her mind, including how do I not die right now?
Yeah. So you guys released the trailer for this for PAX, and I think initial reaction, first thing I thought about the trailer was, oh, this looks a lot like Bastion. But as I got in and I played it, there are a lot of things that are fundamentally different from the get-go. Let's talk first of all about the combat system, which I really, really love.
Cool. Yeah, basically, well, as you saw, it's got, the game has a much more kind of strategic focus compared to something like Bastion. That was something we were really interested in trying to do because we all love lots of classic tactical RPGs and turn-based strategy games and stuff like that, but we didn't want to go straight ahead into like a turn-based game, partly because of the narrative stuff we want to do and so forth, and we like just kind of the really immediate feel of a game like Bastion. So we thought, like, can we combine the sort of sensation and the pleasure of like a planning system and sort of having those moments where you're planning out your moves and thinking ahead in the context of like an easy to pick up and play action RPG. And it took us a while to come around to the system that we have here now, but that's the result, and we've been really, really happy with how people have taken to it, because you could still very much play the game in real time, like a more familiar action RPG, but you have access to this very powerful ability where you can basically call timeout. You could decide when it's your turn, no one else gets a turn besides you.
Yeah.
And just and plan from there, and then have those moments of kind of suspense, because you don't ever quite know exactly how your plan is going to pan out. Most of the time it'll go as you want, but once in a while there'll be some surprises, and we like the kind of drama that creates.
Well, yeah, and I love it because I'm not somebody who plays a lot of turn-based stuff, and I feel like there will be people out there who don't play a lot of real-time combat stuff. And I was surprised at how effortlessly I could go back and forth between the two,
Yeah.
And we should say that you can't just jump into a planning mode whenever you want. You don't just turn it into strategy. There are kind of rules to that.
That's right. Yeah, it's like part of the, we want this thing, you get this weapon called the Transistor, and we want it to kind of feel very powerful, mysterious right from the start. It grants you this great power, but it does have certain, it does have certain, not necessarily shortcomings, but yeah, you can't just use it all the time. So we want there to be strategy, even like how and when you use it. But it can be, for us, it's really fun because you could use it like literally at any time, as long as the kind of the cooldown is up. So we have some people on the team who use it kind of when they're in danger and getting hit. Other people will use it kind of right mid combo, and all kinds of different things. So that's when we felt like we were onto something, when everyone on the team here was like using it in all kinds of different ways. We're like, oh, cool, because we wanted the combat basically to feel deep and to be, feel kind of personal, like you could play it however you wanted.
Yeah, and there are some additional kind of role-playing elements to it. I noticed I was leveling up my skills. Yep. As you run around, you find other dead people who want to live in your sword.
Yeah, that's kind of we're hinting at, again, just some of the mysteries behind this thing and where some of its powers are coming from. But yeah, you find these traces of people who seem to have been killed by the Process, and they're, whatever's left of them, they kind of get absorbed by the Transistor, and they unlock new powers. That's just kind of a, in what you played, it's kind of your preview of what's to come on that front. But we're very excited about kind of the variety of powers that this thing is going to afford you, and how you'll be able to kind of reconfigure those powers and stuff like that.
Cool. And the look of it, it's got kind of this Blade Runner meets Art Deco thing going on.
cool.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to, with the whole sort of, with the setting of this game, we were very interested in creating a science fiction world from scratch that felt, distinct, but at the same time, of course, had some sense of familiarity to it. Like, we like the feel of a kind of anachronistic world. It's not like a far-flung future thing, and if anything, it almost looks more like the past than the future in some ways. But then you can tell it's futuristic as well. Jen, our art director, takes inspiration from the Art Nouveau movement in particular, which is like these painters like Gustav Klimt and these like awesome kind of gilded paintings, and we just wanted that feeling of like just a grand and like romanticized city, as opposed to in something like Bastion, it's this like ruined world that's still beautiful, but it's like the remains of a world. Whereas here it's you see this grand city in the background, and something very bad is like beginning to happen here, but it's not a world that's been destroyed. It's actually a world where things have been generally quite well off.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to explore that and have a world that is more sort of put together.
And it feels like with the hybrid combat, it's very suited to be on multiple platforms, use multiple control schemes. Do you guys have an idea of where you're going yet?
Yes and no, in the sense that like we don't have any platforms announced for the game or confirmed. I should say, it's not even a matter of announced. We like the decisions around the gameplay and stuff, I think were made just around the kind of feel that we wanted, though we have by now, just like picked up experience on developing Bastion for these different methods of control. For all I know, it's like in a couple of years, people are going to be controlling games with their brains at this point. They've got, VR headsets, all kinds of weird stuff happening. So as a small studio...
Did you just confirm for the Oculus? You just confirmed the first 2D isometric game for the Oculus.
Yeah, you'll be able to look around and nothing will happen. It's going to be really different from all the other VR games.
So what about time frame? Do we know when it's coming?
We certainly hope so. We're aiming for early next year. More specifically, we can't say. This is still, from our point of view, it's like an early first look. Just far enough along to where we felt like we could put it out there and see what people thought. Thankfully, it's been, from our point of view, it's been really well received. So we're like, okay, cool, we can let's keep going in that case. But yeah, hopefully early next year.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thanks so much, man. If people want to keep up with development, you guys are, of course, supergiantgames.com, right?
Yep.
And keep here at Rev3 Games as well, because as they release stuff to us, we're going to release it to you. You got more stuff soon, right?
Hope so.